This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Tattoos and what they are.
Yeah, right, so the tattoos that I've got today is to finish off part of the story that's on my arm. So the background about this is I proposed to my wife now in New York, so it's all the landmarks of New York that we went to. Obviously we've got an engagement ring somewhere there, I don't know if you can see. And obviously we had our honeymoon in the Hard Rock Casino, so obviously the story follows on to the end. So we've got casino chips, obviously we've got Grandad's birthday was the 14th, so that's obviously our lucky number. The king and queen obviously symbolise husband and wife, and obviously it's not quite finished yet, but we'll have some more relevant stuff on there. So yeah, it's more of like the story of my life really, so that's why I get the tattoos done.
I'm Dale, I'm a tattooist. I'm probably the second longest tattooist in Sunderland at the moment. Only been beaten by my pal Peter, who started about 4 months before us. That was about 21 years ago now.
How did you get into tattooing?
Oh, by accident really. I got a tattoo on my chest out of a bit of a rebellion because nobody else around here really had tattoos at the time, and I got 2 or 3 in a week, and then started hanging around the tattoo shop, and I thought, well, that looks pretty cool at the time. And then the guy who I was getting tattooed off, a lad called Rob, I noticed that he was using a computer he was using doing text, was hand drawn it all out. I asked, why don't you use a computer? And he was like, well, I don't know how to use a computer. So I said, well, I'll teach you how to use a computer if you teach us how to tattoo. And I sort of fell into it really by accident.
What was your first tattoo, and do you have any that you regret?
My first tattoo that I got was a little heart on my chest, a little Egyptian heart, which was a tester. The only one that I've regretted was a rose that's on my chest that I'm getting covered up, and which ironically says no regrets written around it, and it's the only one I ever regretted, was the one that has no regrets on.
What tattoo design do you see like the most requested you do?
Gosh, that's a hard one to say. It goes through phases. Small tattoos. We had just a recent popular was infinity symbols with names on. At the moment, it's probably clocks with times of children being born on, or parents dying, or seems to be this obsession with clocks at the moment, and roses.
What is your favourite style of tattoo to do?
Big ones that cost lots of money. They're my favourite, and the bigger and the more expensive, the more I like it. But as for style-wise, I like doing traditional Japanese work, black and grey work. I like all styles of tattoos. I just like tattoos, really. Yeah.
Who's the oldest person you've ever tattooed?
That would be an old customer of mine called Bruce. He was 82 when he first came in to get his first tattoo. And then within a year he'd decided that he wanted full sleeves. We covered his sleeves and then started on his back. He was in the special boat squadron. He was an old soldier. He was one of the first soldiers that liberated some of the death camps when the British Army moved through Poland. He was an absolute crazy character. He spent a lot of the war in Germany during the Cold War, and suddenly decided at 82 that he saw a girl, a newsagent who had a tattoo that I'd done, and he thought, right, I'm going to go and get one. And in fact, he popped in just recently because his wife had died and he was a bit bored, so he's deciding what his next tattoo. And he must be about 88, 89 now.
How do you feel about the tattoo shows that have become popular in the last few years?
At first I thought they were quite good, a little bit boring because it's like going back to work, but a bigger version of work. But the good thing about them, sort of 15, 20 years ago, they were controlled and people couldn't buy the equipment. Now anybody can go to these shows, you can buy any equipment, you can buy the machines, etc., needles, and it's open to everybody. Really, whereas it should be you should only be an artist, you should be registered before you could buy tattoo equipment. So I tend not to go to them. Yeah, and it's just full of tattooists bitching about tattooists, because that's what we do.
If you could tattoo anyone famous, who would you choose?
Adolf Hitler. You mean alive or dead? I'd like to do a tattoo of Jeremy Corbyn on Adolf Hitler's back, and just tell him it was his wife Eva. Anybody living? Bruce Willis, because he's my man crush. Because Bruce Willis has never made a bad movie, no matter what anybody says, and if they tell you that any of it, it's wrong.
How do you feel about memorial tattoos?
The bread and butter. I don't actually. If it helps people cope, then great. We try to talk people out of getting dates. The problem when people get dates on is that they remember, especially if it's a memorial of somebody passing, they remember the passing. So we try to persuade people not to get dates on memorial names. Yeah, but dates are awful because it makes it it reminds people of the day when people passed rather than. So mixed feelings about memorial tattoos.
Finally, do you think tattoos are powerful?
Yeah, the tattoos have enabled me to travel the world. It depends on the symbolism you're using. If you want to, so if we take like the swastika, the swastika has various meanings. So that can be quite a powerful tattoo because it makes a huge statement. But I think they probably had more impact 20 years ago, 30 years ago, definitely. Now tattoos are pretty mainstream. And because the mainstream, the impact, the visual impact is much less than it was 20 years ago when it was confined to rapists and thieves and vagabonds who were who you were sort of grouped with if you were heavily tattooed. Although that was people in Bristol, it was different because the British Tattoo Club started in Bristol and people had a different attitude in Bristol.